When that huge tech company from China called DJI launched this, the DJI Mini 2, little could they have known just how popular this thing was actually going to be, armed with its 4K camera, its OcuSync connection, and of course its long battery life, all in a 249-gram shell, meaning it was restriction beating almost worldwide. This was quite the comprehensive package. But because of the success of this drone, it is only natural for people to want more. And in this video I'm going to talk about the possibilities, what the next incarnation called the DJI Mini 3 might actually look like. So let's get into it. It wasn't actually long after the launch of the DJI Mini 2 that some YouTubers were already posting videos as to what they would want to see on the DJI Mini 3. Many YouTubers throughout this summer was reporting that the DJI Mini 3 was actually coming soon. That led me to do a little bit of a different video where I actually posted a video where I didn't actually think myself that it was actually coming soon, to the point where I actually said that within the video. Everybody got excited a few weeks ago, depending on when you're watching this, when there was a bit of a rumour and there was basically a roadmap which was published to say that we could expect a DJI Mini 3 in April. That time frame does actually sit quite well with me, if I'm perfectly honest. So that got a lot of the YouTubers really excited and posting videos again as to the Mini 3. However, I've refrained up until now because when I did a video, I wanted to make sure I had something interesting to show you. And of course, I will stress that this again is purely speculation, but one that does carry quite a lot of weight. Now, in the DJI drone world, there are generally two serial leakers. You generally get Jasper Ellens from 27 Leaks or 27 Leaks, whichever he wants to pronounce it, and of course you get the infamous OsitaLV, and it is the latter of those two which has posted something incredibly interesting, just to add a little bit of credibility before we get really into it as to OsitaLV's credentials. What you can see on screen was a very early rendering of what he suggested the DJI OM5 might well look like. And if we revert back to this product here, which of course I have in my hands, this is the DJI OM5, and one of the early renderings or guesses that OsitaLV made was the fact that this would have a built-in selfie stick, which of course those of you that have got the product knows that it actually does. Okay, and I just think that, you know, there is certain people in this world that are privy to some decent information, and of course OsitaLV clearly is one of them, because, you know, let's be realistic, how on earth could anybody take an absolute potluck guess at whether they was going to have a built-in selfie stick? And of course it looks very true to form as well. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is a latest tweet from OsitaLV where he sort of demonstrates some of the features that we would expect the DJI Mini 3 to have. And I think this is possibly too good to ignore, and wanted to do a video on the subject. So let's look at the proposed features then in more detail, and let's just take a quick look, and I'll skim through them as quick as I possibly can, and I'll add a couple of translations there as well just to make it nice and simple. The first one is a redesigned fuselage, where it's slightly more aerodynamically efficient. It is proposed that it may well have a carbon skeleton, which of course is very light, but of course it's very expensive. So the price on this drone might be something to look at if this is actually going to be the case. We also look like we've got some re-profiled and redesigned arms, possibly making them more aerodynamically efficient, which of course would be very, very good. You can see they're more angular to smooth the airflow rather than a straight face side. I don't know where they're going to write DJI Mini 3 on it if that's the case, but I look forward to seeing the product. So the next thing up is downward sloping arms. This is apparently, by the looks of it, to accommodate larger propellers, according to this sketch. Obviously, bigger propellers are going to give you more lift without actually increasing the potential weight of the drone, because of course they don't weigh that much, do they? And as you can see there, with bigger propellers, the propulsion system can use the same amount of energy as what it was before, but of course you've got more lift and potentially more speed as well. So, you know, this could be a really interesting feature, and I'm really excited to see this one. And of course, you know, if you're not putting so much strain on the battery, you could potentially see a longer flight time, or at least free up some of that battery life for other features the drone may possibly have. So the next one then is all about the sensor. We have a 1/1.28 sensor with a 50 megapixel camera and a f-stop of 1.8 and a 24mm focal length equivalent. And again, that is about where I would expect it to be. Of course, they have to improve the DJI Mini 2, and this seems a good way to go. That bigger sensor is of course going to let in so much more light, going to be perfect for low lighting or nighttime shots as well. So of course that's always good. And most importantly, again, the competitor to DJI, OsitaLV, who have launched the Nano drone, that is the same sensor size in that model as well. So we'll have to pay close attention to what price this actually comes out at. But certainly that's exactly what I would expect. All DJI now need to do is couple that sensor with the video recording format of 4K 60 frames per second, and I will be a very happy man. Next up, we have the OcuSync 3.0 connection system proposed with that 10km range, which is pretty consistent with DJI's other drones. Of course, 10 kilometers is an interesting figure because the drone, without any battery modifications, will never do anywhere near that. The maximum I've ever got from any of DJI's drones was actually 5 kilometers on the nose, and I just had enough battery landing with 2% to come back. So that's about where we're going to be at with it, of course. But it's good to know. You know, I always use the watch analogy. At the end of the day, I get a watch that's waterproof to 30 meters. I'm never going to take it to 30 meters, but it's always nice to know it'll be fine if I drop it in the sink. And that's a very similar situation with OcuSync. It might do 10 kilometers, but it's nice to know that it's good for 500 meters, keeping it within visual line of sight. We also get to see a potential 31 minutes flight time. Now, in the real world, drones are advertised that is what they will do. Of course, we generally get a little bit less, especially as the battery wears on and goes through its cycles. But ultimately, with those bigger propellers proposed, possibly, and that was a lot of P's, hopefully 31 minutes might be a more of a realistic real world flying time. The next one is interesting, a possibly redesigned battery module, very similar to the way the Mavic 3 looks, with the standard USB-C connection and the micro SD card slot on the back. It looks to me like they're possibly going to do away with the rear draw, which is synonymous on the DJI Mavic Mini and the Mini 2. Just get rid of that, and just basically the battery will just slot in the back by the looks of it. I think that would be a better system, and of course it's what we've seen on the DJI Mavic 3, and it does also talk about the possibility of not having the buttons and lights to maximize the efficiency. How we turn it on, I don't know, but yeah, that's something we'll figure out if some of this concept does come true. And of course, we are also looking at the forward, backward, and downward obstacle avoidance sensors. Absolutely the minimum I would expect, given the fact that a couple of DJI's competitors, whether you class them as competitors or not, i.e. the Hubsan Xeno Mini Pro and of course the OsitaLV Nano range, both have obstacle avoidance sensors. So this was pretty much a given that they was going to have some sort of sensors. Some of you are going to love them, some of you are not, some of you need them, some of you don't, but ultimately it's going to be pretty standard, especially for new flyers, that this will be a feature of the new drone. So the last one then is a proposed combined chip then, or combined mainframe with everything bundled together, making it all nice, simple and light, especially important keeping it under that 249 gram limit. So we all know that DJI are going to launch a new drone. If you have great success with the Mavic Mini and then even better success with the DJI Mini 2, and you've already got a huge customer base asking for the next one, why wouldn't they make it? So I do think that it will be coming in the next couple of months. I'm not going to put my head on the stone for somebody to chop it off by telling you exactly when it's going to be or making any guesstimations. Nothing is confirmed, and this sketch is purely, like I say, speculative. But at the end of the day, something is coming, and everything that I have seen on this sketch possibly looks like it looks like that's exactly what I would expect to see from the DJI Mini 3. So what do you think to that? Interesting concept, accurate information, or just a load of rubbish? I'll let you decide. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. See you again soon.